Welcome to r/RedditRevenge. This is a story of someone getting back at someone with revenge after being wronged. And today we have 3 great stories. So subscribe, hit the like button, and let's begin. The first story. After a series of incompetent managers, a server becomes interim manager but receives an insulting salary offer. In retaliation, he leaves, withholds vital paperwork, and creates chaos for the owners. The second story. Boss's poor leadership led to my resignation, triggering a chain of resignations. The third story. Company wants 10 jobs in 5 days. We finish in 4. They push for more jobs, forgetting material limitations. Today's first story is... Owners decided they didn't need managers. I used to work for a pizza place. The owners of the restaurant, and it was a restaurant, albeit one with a lunch buffet, also owned 7 or 8 other pizza places. When I first started working there, I was still in college and got hired part-time as waitstaff. The place had an awesome manager and assistant manager who totally complemented one another and kept the place running tight and smooth without making it hateful for employees. It was a pretty fun place to work, and they gave a decent amount of free food to the people who work there. I spent 4 years working there and worked my way up through quite literally every position: waitstaff, cook, shift leader, and assistant manager. And we kept the same manager and district manager, who was an effing D but very efficient at his job, and the place kept on humming along. By this time, I'm placing orders, doing inventory, and doing payroll and sales, so I know the place is profitable. The owner got married, and the new couple went to a bunch of business conferences. You know, the ones where you can achieve your dreams, but opportunities are limited, so invest early. Suddenly, all of our expenses and sales are getting scrutinized. All the managers and district management are getting grilled on their decisions and effectiveness. The manager and assistant managers, who had an arrangement on who worked when, suddenly needed to open and close all the time. It was clear that the owners were trying to flex on us. It didn't take long for the district manager, and main assistant manager to leave. This was followed by a string of incompetent new managers that the owners brought in. One of them harassed all the employees. The next was stealing employee overtime pay. They actually liked him, but he was also stealing from them, so another new manager was brought in. I stuck it out as long as I could, and eventually took over as interim manager, after the previous manager got busted selling prohibited substances out of the restaurant. The owners couldn't make it to the restaurant for half a week, and I just jumped in and got everything done. And I stayed on my current hourly wage, working 55-hour weeks for 2 months before they sat down to talk salary. Anyhow, they offered me an insulting amount, $15K and $90s, when I was currently making close to $30K hourly, at $6 something an hour. They also insisted on the owner's husband shadowing me for a week to show me how to do the job properly. And he made everything take longer without making anything better. At the end of that week, I told him I couldn't do $15K, and that he and the owner could have 2 weeks to talk about it, but I planned on leaving after that. And he was so absent-minded and condescending about it, like it wasn't a big deal, just another thing on his checklist. By now, they had sold 3 of their stores, and the owner's husband was basically spending a week at each store before moving on to the next, just getting in the way, and he was in a hurry to leave. He very much implied that I wouldn't get much, if any, raise. So I kept doing everything I was supposed to, but some things I didn't do quite properly. Like, I still did inventory and ordered appropriately, but I kept my records in a new notebook instead of the proper one. Same with payroll. During that whole 2 weeks, the only time I heard from the owner or her husband was when he called and asked me to schedule an oven cleaning night so he could see how that worked. But no mention of my raise. So I scheduled the oven cleaning for the night immediately following my last day. At the end of 2 weeks, I still hadn't heard from him. So I took my inventories and payrolls home the night before and worked my final shift, waiting for him to arrive for the oven cleaning. When he did, I asked him whether his wife had an answer about my salary, and he blanked. He'd completely forgotten to ask. So I handed over my keys and told him good luck, and I walked out. He and his wife called me frantically that night, but again, absolutely no mention of a raise, just going off on me for disappointing them. Later, I got calls asking about paperwork, and I always told them a perfectly logical place where it should be, but of course it wasn't there. And I was the last person at the pizza place who knew how to clean the oven, so I also got calls about that. I mentioned there was a manual somewhere, and again suggested obvious places to look for it when there was no such manual. I offered to explain it to them over the phone, then immediately started droning on about safety protocols. They asked me to write it down, and I said sure, and I'll try to drop that off in a day or 2. And I scheduled everyone for the week after, but I didn't post it, just sent each person home with their individual schedule. I kept the paperwork, just in case there were legal issues, but there weren't. I managed to stretch out the idea that there was elusive paperwork to be found somewhere in that restaurant for almost 3 weeks before they stopped calling me. Without the paperwork, they had no real way to properly order anything, and they were forced to do an emergency inventory. But late, because they thought there was 2 weeks of actual inventory somewhere. There wasn't anyone else there who knew how to do these things either, so the owner and her husband got to experience a crash course in emergency restaurant management, and the oven broke down a few months later. Edit. I did payroll right before I left, so everyone got paid properly on schedule the following week, and everyone was scheduled properly that week as well. I also let everyone at the store know I was leaving at the end of my 2 weeks, so they had time to prep for the upcoming confusion. The second story is, I get to watch the company I work for crumble without me, and it's glorious. Context. I've been working in IT my whole working life. Several years ago, I was approached by someone who owns a small private college and offered a job. I had several years of IT experience by that time, mostly working at colleges in the area. I accepted the job. There I was the only IT. There was no IT department, just me. The internet was laughable, something like 100 megabytes per second for the whole school. They were trying to expand and get approval for a new program, so I took on the daunting task of getting the school up to date. They were simultaneously working to move to online tests and homework. Everything was on paper when I started there, so I moved very fast to do this. I also assisted with providing whatever paperwork, spreadsheets, schedules, etc. the school needed to get their new program approval finalized. Once that was all done, I continued to work as the only IT on campus. Then my boss asked me to work in admissions in addition to my own department to take applications for the new program they got. There were so many other jobs they gave me that I don't even remember them all. They needed about 6 people to do all that work, but I did it. Fast forward to 2021. I've decided I had enough. I enroll in the program that I helped this school get. Took their crazy entrance exam. It had something like a 10% pass rate. Scored in the top 5 for that year. Then I quit my job. That place had become the worst job I'd ever worked at. The boss had no respect for anyone around them, and the office had like 6 or 7 people working in it, including me. I was constantly being accused of doing nothing all day when I was working. When I quit, they did not hire anyone new to fill my position. They instead passed my work on to 3 other people, who of course already had their own jobs to do. I watched them struggle for about a month before another quit. Their work also just got dispersed among the remaining employees. That left 4 people working full-time in the office. One of them, the one who had the absolute most jobs out of everyone there, started no-call, no-showing at least once a week. Now, one of my favorite coworkers told me that she was just offered a new job with a 40% pay increase. Benefits? Did I mention this job I had didn't offer benefits? And room to grow. She's leaving in August, so that leaves 3 workers. And the guy that started no-showing has already informed the boss that he won't be working there anymore after this year is over. So that leaves 2 employees. One of them is part-time. I feel bad for taking joy in this, but something feels good about watching everyone get fed up with the garbage management there at the same time. Edit. To clarify, I'm about to graduate in like 3 months. The school might shut down, but not fast. I'll be gone before it would affect me. I plan to graduate and promptly purchase like 8 copies of my transcript in case they go down. I technically didn't do anything, but that is the petty revenge. Boss keeps asking me to help out around the school. I keep reminding them that I quit my job, and my coworker that got offered a new job came to me to ask for advice about whether or not they should even take the job. Of course I said yes. I reminded them that this place never did right by anyone other than the owner. The boss is the owner. This school is very, very small. They were somehow open for 13 years before they hired me. Baffling. The DOE isn't going to do anything about the working conditions, though. The programs they offer are actually really good. The DOL might do something, but I'm not going to call them. It's way more satisfying to watch the school destroy itself while throwing around the I need to focus on school reason whenever the boss asks me for help. Edit 2. Oh yeah, I definitely have experienced the I didn't approve you working any overtime moment more than once. I just told them that I would leave at exactly 8 hours next time if it's an issue. It was no longer an issue. Edit 3. Luckily, the school isn't in danger of losing its accreditation. So if they close, it would literally be because they go bankrupt, which means the degrees will still be a degree. They'll probably sell it before that though, to be honest. The third story is, you're right, I'm lazy. This is my first time posting. This happened 20 plus years ago. I work for the family business repiping mobile homes. Because I wasn't married and didn't have kids, my buddy and I were the out-of-town crew. The only out-of-town crew. We traveled all over the state. A typical week would consist of 10 houses over 5 days. 2 a day, Monday through Friday. That was the requirement. 10 houses must be plumbed a week, no exceptions. We had a backlog of work. After my buddy got good, we could easily plumb 2 houses in 6 to 7 hours. The other crews typically took 10 hours for 2 houses. Since we were paid by the house, it didn't matter how fast or slow you were, so long as you did 10 houses a week. I've always hated working 5 days a week, so we decided each Monday morning to look at our work orders and rearrange the schedule so we did 2 houses Monday, travel time getting to the first job, 3 on Tuesday and Wednesday, then 2 on Thursday. Leaving us all day Friday to sleep in, explore whatever town we were in, and enjoy a 3-day weekend. This went on for some time, until my girlfriend wanted to go out of town for a 3-day weekend. So we finished Thursday, drive to the shop, dropped off my van, and left for the weekend. Friday afternoon, I get a call. It's the boss. Boss, where are you? Me, New York. Boss, obviously confused. New York, what do you mean? Me, I mean I'm currently in New York City, what's up? Lots of confused questions and snarky answers back and forth. Boss, why did you cancel your Friday jobs? Is something wrong with your van? It's at the shop, so it must be running. Me, I didn't cancel any jobs. Boss, now I'm more confused by how I did 10 jobs in 4 days than how I was in New York without their knowledge. How did you do 10 jobs in 4 days? I decided it would be easiest to tell them I've been doing this for a while. He's peeved. He's absolutely furious that I'd been claiming my per diem and hotel while not working Fridays. Sunday night turns into a lecture of how I should be doing more for the business. I remind them we're the only crew that goes out of town. He tells me from here on out I'm doing 13 jobs a week. I ask if the other crews will be expected to do the same considering they all work locally. Nope, just me. So I plan the revenge. I tell my cousin to schedule our next week in the city furthest away, about a 5-hour drive. We were normally only scheduled 9 jobs for that city, as the first day drive took up so much time. No need to remind anyone of that. The number is 13 this week. So we head out Monday. No changes, no tweaks, just do what's scheduled. Obviously, we can't do 2 on Monday. Half our day was spent driving. It didn't help that we weren't exactly rushing. So around 4, we call the office and tell them to call the customer. We won't be able to get to them. The customer is furious and asks when they'll get rescheduled. No idea. Not my problem. I'm not supposed to reschedule jobs anymore. Fast forward to Thursday. While finishing job number 10, we call the office and inform them we're out of material. No pipe, no fittings, no wholesale house to go to, nothing. Please tell the boss to bring us more. I get a call from the boss. Boss, what happened? Me, the van can only hold 10 jobs worth of material. That's the way you set it up. Boss, can't you go to X and get more pipe? Me, that's 2 hours away each way. We'll have to cancel another job. Plus they charge double what we pay in town. Boss, why didn't you say you couldn't do 13 jobs? Me, I did. You said I was being lazy. Boss, I thought you meant you didn't want to do 13 jobs. Not that the truck couldn't hold enough material. Me, I didn't want to do 13. You set the trucks up, it's your truck. Boss unhappily, I'll meet you at your first job at 7 a.m. Me with a smile you can hear over the phone. See you in the morning, boss. After spending the night loading a van and leaving at 2 a.m. to bring me material, an exhausted boss drops off pipe and fittings at 7. Me, hey, do you want to help knock out the Monday job we canceled, or do you want us to stay another night? Hotel per diem. We went back to 10 jobs a week after that. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to know when the new video comes out, and hit the like button to support the channel.